My last name, I am Christian. But I'm a newspaper owner. I was hurt horribly by the Stamp Act, and I think we should revolt. My newspaper, the Massachusetts Daily, has tanked since the Stamp Act, and even though it's been repealed, I think that something needs to be done because the people over in Great Britain, they ruined my business. So, and it's really hard to get it back.
How did they ruin your business? Just because you gotta pay for stamps? They weren't very expensive.
They weren't very expensive, but people didn't want. So when we print a lot of newspapers, we make a lot of newspapers, I was barely making profit to begin with. Even though the stamps aren't that much, it's just I suppose it is the principle. The fact that I took my business, which I built up from nothing, and they can come and say, you know what, now you have to pay for it. It's awful.
I'm Shy Atlow, and I'm a shipbuilder, and I know I'm a Tory, so I know we have some different views. But I have to say, I understand you. I did a similar thing as you. I also built a business which involves me obviously building ships. But the thing is, if we're doing what you're implying, which is rebel and do some kind of possible revolution, then yes, people in your situation, they might get it better. They might. It's not necessarily, you don't know how it's going to end, but then you're also taking account that other people, such as myself, as a shipbuilder, we're now going to be affected, which I think is
How are you going to be affected?
Because now what's going to happen is when they do the war, for example, now we were shipping the tea over, right? And they called on me to ship the tea because I want something and bring it aboard. And then the Americans, they started, we all Americans, the people who were against England, they started throwing the tea overboard, and you guys were closing off the docks. And now that's affecting my business, and I can't make as much. Now if we do the war, that's going to also restrict me more because we're going to restrict the docks again. We're going to restrict more docks. We're going to restrict more ships from entering docks.
There are plenty of ways. I am a Tory tea merchant. I'm John Barber. This is my tea name, and I do support England a lot. I do because if you think about it, there are plenty of ways to solve this without violence. Like, we do not have to completely destroy all of our land and all of our resources just because we're having issues with people restricting us. Now, if we take ways in like this meeting that we're having right now, if we do something like that where we develop a plan, while it does take maybe a little bit more time than whatever violence that we might want to imply and decide to do, I think that if we really take it over seas and we actually discuss these things, we can figure out a way to be united.
But are the British really willing to discuss this?
They're taxing us on stamps. What are they going to tax us on next? I'm Colin Morales. I am also a tea merchant, and I ship my tea over there. And are they going to tax me more for sending tea to them? I don't want these taxes.
What about the British East India Company? How's that affecting your business?
They suck.
Why?
They want to keep most of my profits, barely give anything to me. I inherited my tea.
Yeah, but what's the deal with what happened with Great Britain and the tea company? They're about to go bankrupt. What is the advantage that they have?
They're a monopoly on our tea industry,
So doesn't that make tea cheaper? Isn't that a good thing for me? I drink a lot of tea. Isn't that good for me?
I mean, for Colin and I in our tea business, it's a little bit difficult. I mean, we're losing a lot of business, but there are plenty of ways if we can still support England, and we can still join.
You're saying we should support England, but England is the one
Who are
restricting.
you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
He just walked in and said that.
Really? Who are you?
I am Howard. I am a farmer, and you know what? I don't respect what England is doing to our economy, what they are doing to our trade. They are restricting what we ship out to themselves, and so we can't do business with other countries.
Well, were you impressed by the Stamp Act?
Certainly, the Stamp Act didn't affect me as much as it might affect
And did you
other
even drink
people.
any tea?
I might have, but
Assuming you didn't, did you read anything by Locke or any of those guys?
no.
You may not have.
Okay, so
You may not have. But I see people like Howard all the time, day in and day out. Farmers who are disrespected.
Who are you?
I am
he's
the
a Tavern,
Tavern.
remember?
You came in.
Okay.
I greeted you. Came in quick.
Okay.
You met.
God.
The beer place. I see people like Howard every day who are literate, yes, but they get this information at my tavern every day, and they see the disrespect that England is doing to them in these simple acts.
So
that may not
basically, what is it that people want? What is it that they really want? What's the
equality,
basic message?
representation.
Representation. So, in the colonies, are there any local assemblymen here?
People
Tell me about how you govern yourself. I'm curious about this.
do we
So I am a patriot, and I think it's unfair how England has taken away our sovereignty in our government. They just throw their rules out. What are we gonna do about it? I feel like I have no power anymore. You all got me up to this position, and now it's like the position is out the door. England can come in and say no. These are our government. I disagree.
You have,
Position.
but you have representative assemblies, don't you?
We do, but
do they
yeah, do they hold? Thank you, tavern owner. Do they
We-
hold any weight?
people like Howard and I and people who come into my tavern all the time don't feel like we have any position anymore, like any real connection, and the simple almost abuse that England is demonstrated for us.
Well, hang on a minute. Abuse. John Locke, and by the way, I'm Tom Horton. I'm from Virginia. I'm a plantation, specifically tobacco. It's great business. I assume many of you have read John Locke and know some of his beliefs. Life, liberty, and property. That's what he argues. I'm a plantation owner. I can say firsthand that property is available. Forget about England. Property is available. They have offered us that. They've sponsored it.
It won't be. Well, they're trying to
Yes.
regulate it
Yes.
now. Now they're trying to say
Are you-
no.
There's-
Yes,
Regulated?
but no, they're regulating it.
How
to
long
an
I
extent.
want a bigger
The idea being that there are Native Americans, and if we try to push out west too rapidly, we can start wars, and that will lead to people dying. They are protecting us from this, and they are
And demanding.
limiting.
I don't want to
Long
demand-
live King George!
And demanding a
Tell me,
high
who founded these colonies?
King George!
Germans?
They can't even
Scots
afford
or
to
Englishmen?
maintain the border.
James,
You're all English.
They
You're
cannot
all
even afford
English.
to maintain
Let's-
the border.
let's-
How do you?
I was going to say, the other point is life. They have fight during the French and Indian War. They provided us with soldiers to protect us and to help us. They are helping us with life and property. The only thing that you people are arguing against is liberty. And quite frankly, something like the Stamp Act. I've talked to many people, including Levi Preston, and he says he doesn't even feel the effects of the Stamp Act.
If we do not have liberty, what do we have?
I shelter.
Money, we have protection.
Property.
Consider-
How long
consider
until
this.
this are really come
Everything we
further?
need.
How
Consider
long
this.
until they can't hold up the border?
How
A man
how-
raises his
how-
son. A man raises his son to be independent. If we're forever shackled to Great Britain,
But that's not what our patriarchal society is all about. I mean, we're all Puritans up here in New England, and I strongly believe our children should listen to us. And if I were from Connecticut, I would make sure that my children obeyed me, or it'd be death for my children if they don't obey me. According to the blue laws of Connecticut, that's what it says. Now, I'm concerned about my Tory friend over here. Can you tell me about some of the experiences you've had, how people have treated you?
Well, being a Tory is difficult here.
Can you tell me something more
Well,
about that?
so my dear friend, his name was Bob Winter, and he was beaten by a group of 30 men just because he said, "Long live King George." And I mean, is that reasonable?
If we are a liberal country, we really want to promote the liberty that we illegal.
We're
Was it
talking
really-
about
I think that
was it
you're
really
all being
oppression?
hypocritical. Look
When
at
I
you-
that.
think
when
we have the right to freedom of speech.
exactly.
I
We're
agree.
talking.
Yeah.
That sounds
And
like a
if you,
good
If
idea.
you beat people for saying "Long live King George," you are suppressing that.
Freedom of speech.
Speech.
The British, my newspaper, if I print anything that demeaned them for a while,
What about
Hey,
the
we
That was,
can't-
that
we
was
can't
before
say-
the Zenger
Hold on.
decision. We made
So,
a
it
Zenger
happened.
decision.
What about the
That was
patriots
before.
with propaganda?
We solved that with a decision
That's
which
right.
we made without violence.
That's right.
Propaganda
In a way,
is
the
our
stamp-
right of speech. So are you going to restrict our ability to
No.
print propaganda?
No, but in response to Mr. Moses' comment over there about the British limiting rights to freedom of speech, I'll say that American propaganda, such things as Sam Adams' depiction of the Boston Massacre, which was unfair, it was grossly
How would
unfair
you
to
know?
the
Were you there?
soldiers. There are many reports, and a trial found
From
those
both sides.
soldiers. The trial
I've
found
heard of
all
both
those.
on the Tavern.
A trial found all but 2 of those soldiers innocent. Innocent. Trial by court. The law said they were innocent.
In fact,
Even
one of the
by-
witnesses-
Controls the court.
In fact, one of the witnesses was falsely accused. Some of those. So how can we trust this? How can we trust some of these patriots?
Well, this is
One of these patriots falsely accused several officers,
Well,
and it was.
I want to know who here has shared the views of even one of the British, when you're talking about how British doesn't want this, or doesn't want this rebellion, and yet I believe there was even Mr. Burke who talked about why it was that we should stay part of the empire and conciliate. So what are some of the things that he said? I mean, why is it that Great Britain, I'm asking my Tory friends here, what arguments did he make as to why we should respect the colonies? I mean, it seemed to me he was really concerned about how much all of us love our freedom. But at the same time, he talked about the Protestant ethic here and the separate, congregations. Why does he think we should keep together? And why does Thomas Paine think we should
You interested?
I have read Common Sense, and I agree with it strongly. I think that even his most far-fetched argument
Which
is
is?
sound. His most far-fetched argument being that because America is so far from England, nature and God Himself have both just said, I think these should be separate, right? I'm a pious man, and the Word of God has come down and said that these two lands should be separate. Thomas Paine puts that into writing, and I believe it.
And we're so small, and they're so big. Does that make any difference?
I mean, it's
I'm speaking as and we're so small.
Here's one thing I will say. All large empires struggle with maintaining control throughout the empire. This is just a phase. Rebelling this quickly, like this, is... Look, Britain controls a vast empire. It controls India, it controls Australia, all of these different places. It's just struggling to keep up. It will pass. It's not going to be permanent. Parliament is already paying attention to the struggles of the Americans.
I mean,
It is bringing stuff up in Parliament.
Ottoman Empire.
I've seen some of what Thomas Jefferson is writing in his declaration, and quite honestly, it fails to meet recently adopted specifications proposed to the Crown. So we're going to have to turn it back over to him anyway. I mean, it's so vague. He talks about what are the laws, what are the criteria in which they base their arguments, what truths are self-evident. Could you elaborate? I don't even know what life, liberty, and happiness means. None of it is verifiable. There's no way to achieve these goals. Just because a list of grievances, there should be goals first. And he doesn't even provide any of those. Nobody's responsible for implementing the strategy that he lays out here. There's no evaluation designed to see if they actually achieve these. The strategic plan, it really sucks. It's really not very
You're right.
It is, I will admit, he writes beautifully, it's a lot of style, but it would seem to me that his academic endeavors should stay academic, and maybe he should be founding universities instead of, going into political endeavors where he's sure to be a failure.
Bad strategic plans, like in the last war when the British lost 2,000 men and 10 cannons against a small army of Native Americans.
So you're saying that we do have enough troops to succeed against Great Britain.
Oh, I mean,
I'm
we've succeeded against large numbers.
I may not be the most pious man like Justin. Yeah, Justin over here. I don't know if you may not. I may not be the most pious man, but it doesn't even have to be something from God. It's the most logic seems to show that if it's so difficult for Britain to go through this phase, as Tom has said, without massively restricting the things that are most important to us, and also maintain, the border and its massive debts, which we are by extension a part of, and then it seems logical, not even just religious, to not be.
Well, if you look at it this way, we've already had just a small massacre, actually, and that was because we did not have plans. We didn't have a strategic plan, and even though, and as we look at Thomas Jefferson's writing, if he does not clear up, if we do not create a governmental system, which we already have in place by Britain, then
The best
what
government that the world has ever
the world
seen.
hasn't. So if we don't create some sort of ruling ability to rule here, we cannot just get mad because they're taxing us when we have no future ahead of us. And if we're gonna go ahead and create a war, then think of all the deaths that we're gonna bring to our country without structure.
But you want to reconcile.
Well, I
Have you
believe,
no
but,
common sense?
but I
Yeah,
believe
what
as
have they done
Mr.
to
Leonard,
us?
but what did Mr. Leonard say? Mr. Leonard said that if we were to go to war, what might happen? What he said, one of the most
We don't
famous
have the
Tory
ability-
campaigns.
Welcome to-
We don't have the